servant also. The servant. Think about poor Dasa. He's not willing to work out. He's not bothered about the snakes. He just wants to take rest. And what has been done? There are many students, there are many people around, there are many boys who have now gathered the bamboo sticks, and now they are up to finding out the snake which has entered into the house. And one such stick has also been given to Dasa. And Dasa has to now forcefully start finding out where the snake has reached. Right? He kept desultorily poking. What is this? Desultorily means lack in consistency, without a logical connection. Poking is to push. He kept on doing this. Means what? He's not having any logical connection. He's having no consistency. He's having no importance of the work. What was the work assigned to him? To find out the cobra. So there was no such things in this. He was just pushing here and there into the foliage. What is foliage? Foliage is nothing but leaves with a cynical air. With a cynical air. In the sense, he's high in the air. He feels as if there is nothing around here and people are just believing on some, say, a cyclist who has come merely passing through the road, and then they are now forcing me to find out the poor cobra which is having no relation with this. Fine. So they tucked up their dhotis, kachedo bandhi lido. They tucked up their dhotis, seized every available knife and crowbar and began to hack the garden. सब लोगों ने ढूंढने का एकदम तय कर लिया है. Like they have tucked up their dhotis, seized available knife. Why knife? Remember, there is no grass cutter, and that was the demand of our Dasa, our servant Dasa. So they required to have a knife to cut off the whole lungs of grasses. Correct? So now they have decided, tucked up is to pull up, seized. To seize is to take the possession of. Now they have taken the possession of the garden as if they are responsible now to find out the snake, to search for the snake, to take it and to kill it off. And crowbar. Now what is this crowbar? This is used for one word substitute. Please remember, it is a steel bar, usually flattened and slightly bent at one or both ends, used as a lever. A steel bar, usually flattened and slightly bent at one end or used as a lever, a crowbar, and began to hack the garden, which is called as, say in Gujarati you call it as pavdo, where you take off the soil from the garden. Now they all have equipped with all those instruments, tucking up their dhoti, seizing every available knife, taking the crowbar, and now pulling up the grass and searching for the cobra. Creepers, bushes and lawns were laid low. Sabko kaat dala. Creepers, bushes, lawns. You know what are creepers? Creepers are nothing which, they are plants which trail upon the big trees. Bushes are the small bushes which grow along with the raindrops. When the rain falls, everywhere you find the bushes. And lawns are the grasses which you particularly grow on the soil for making a garden. What could not be trimmed was cut to the root. जिसको हमने कभी trim करने का सोचा भी नहीं था, that has to be cut into the roots. They were cutting it towards the roots. So they were having so much of enthusiasm. Right? The inner walls of the house brightened with the unobstructed glare streaming in. Why this thing has happened? Please understand, the grass had grown over limit, and thus there were so many things obstructing the sun rays entering the bungalow. Are you getting it? Therefore, it has been told that the inner walls of the house brightened with the unobstructed glare streaming in. Unobstructed means without any interruption. When there was nothing more to be done, Dasa asked triumphantly, "Where is the snake? Tell me now, where is the snake?" when there was nothing more to be done. An old beggar tried alms at the gate. Utne mein hi, something went wrong. An old beggar tried for alms at the gate. What is alms? Is donations, right? They told her not to pester when they were engaged in a snake hunt, not to bother or not to give her trouble. On hearing it, the old woman became happy. You are fortunate. It is the god Subramanya who has come to visit you. Don't kill the snake. Now comes another part in the story, the black thing, which is nothing but the superstition. Mother was in hearty agreement. किसी ने कुछ कहा and mother was again in the agreement. You are right. I forgot all about the promised Abhishekam. I had promised an Abhishek. This is a reminder. You do certain things whenever you have some problems faced in your life. You start praying to God and promising God, saying that now if this thing has happened, I will do such things, or I promise you to give you or offer you certain things. And the lady, the mother, had promised to do an Abhishekam, right? Abhishek. And Abhishek kise? To the snake god. And this is a reminder. She gave a coin to the beggar, who promised to send down a snake charmer as she went. A snake charmer. You know who is a snake charmer? The one who captures the snakes and keeps it with him. Presently an old man appeared at the gate and announced himself as a snake charmer. They gathered around him. Now people, they always try to have all kind of amusing things going on. And another character enters into the story. He's nothing but Mr. Snake Charmer, as you can see in the picture. They gathered around him. He spoke to them of his life and activities and his power over the snakes. Every person has got his inner ego. And to satisfy his inner ego, what he usually does, he praises himself. He admires about his works. He tells about how well he did his activities. He is so much important for catching the snakes. They asked admiringly. Everyone was admired. Oh wow, what you do is so great. How do you manage doing such things? How do you catch them? Thus he said, pouncing upon a hypothetical snake on the ground. What is this hypothetical snake? Hypothetical means an assumed, a supposed. Hypothetical snake means something which is not actually been there, but it has been supposed, it has been assumed. So what he does is he tries to pounce upon look how I do it, showing the action of how he captures the snake, right? They pointed the direction in which the cobra had gone and asked him to go ahead. Kahan pe? Where did you see that cobra? They pointed towards the direction where the cobra had trailed. Right. He looked helplessly about and said, if you show me the snake, I will at once catch it. Otherwise, what can I do? You know what? The things has to be given to him. The food has to be made and given to him. Then he will chew it. Something like that. So he is not worried of how he can search for the snake, trace him out and then capture. What he says is, you give me the snake, you show me the snake, I will pounce upon it and catch it. But if you don't show me the snake, how would I find out the snake? The moment you see it again, send for me. I live nearby. He gave his name and address and departed. Now, students, how is that possible? Looking at the snake, can you believe the snake will stay in the same place every time? They are reptiles. They can move here and there very fast. And this Mr. Snake Charmer says, next time when you see it, you try to call me up or send for me. I am living just nearby. Look what has happened in the next slide. At 5 in the evening, this was say in the afternoon it started off, and it was now 5 in the evening. They threw away their stick and implements and repaired to the veranda to rest. All were exhausted. They were walking since long. They had cut down all the creepers, the bushes to their roots, and now after doing such hard work, they threw away all their instruments, their sticks, their implements, their say crowbars, everything, and then they repaired to veranda to rest. Now, what is repairing away to rest means? They went to the veranda to take their rest. They had turned up every stone in the garden and cut down every grass blade and the shrub. They had turned down every grass blade and the shrub. Everything was cut. They had, so that the tiniest insect coming into the garden should have no cover. उन्होंने इतना काम किया था. They had given their level best. They had tried to clear the whole thing, but it was so clean that even the tiniest insects can be easily visualized by anyone. Correct. They were loudly discussing the various measures they would take to protect themselves against reptiles in future. Now what they are doing, human beings are very smart. They think about future. Present, they worry about, they live in present, but they worry about future. Agar future mein, if the reptile enters your house, how can we be protected by these reptiles? Somebody is discussing about, say, keeping a log of wood, not to allow these kind of reptiles. But then other one is telling having a smoke which makes the reptiles move away. And the third person is telling you should keep the surroundings always clean so that these reptiles are easily traced. So there are loud discussions about how we can prevent these reptiles entering the ground, entering the houses, and we are being saved from them. Correct. When Dasa appeared before them carrying a water pot, now this is the time when Dasa has entered. Look what is going on in the story. This story is something related to snakes and entering the grass, entering the compound, and Dasa not at all worried about finding out this snake. And now after so much of hard work, people has cut down every leaf, every foliage, every creeper, and now when they are discussing, suddenly what has happened? Dasa entered, appeared before them, carrying a water pot. Matka, you understand water pot? Matka, that water pot, whose mouth was sealed by a slab of a stone. A stone, you understand, a slab of a stone. He entered with a matka, with a sealed slab of a stone. Right. He put the pot down and said, I have caught him in this. I saw him peeping out of it. Shrub is a woody plant smaller than the tree. Reptiles is a group of animals which crawl. To peep out of is to look out of a small opening. What he tries to say is, he put the pot down and said, taking the credit, you know what? I have caught the snake. I saw him peeping out of it. Peeping out of what? Peeping out of this pot. Now, isn't it amusing that so many people working in the garden could not see the tiniest insect also inside the garden, and this Mr. Dasa, the servant, is now declaring that he has seen the snake peeping out of the pot. Right. So this is the time when he takes all the credit to himself. I saw him before he could see me. I saw him first and he could not see me. That's why, he was not able to move away. It could not move away. He explained at length the strategy he had employed to catch and seal him up, the snake in the pot. He said about the strategy. Now, all these things are, manipulated things. He has now made the strategy. They stood at the safe distance and gazed on the pot. Everyone are terrified. They do not want to enter. They do not want to go near the pot. They are all terrified that there is something inside, some dreadful thing inside the pot. And if this thing opens up, all are gone. Correct. They stood at the safe distance, gazed on the pot. Dasa had the glow of a champion on his face. Why this glow? Since the first line of the sentence of the story, we are continuously telling that Dasa is a lazy servant, right? He is a lazy servant. He does not clear the shrubs, he does not clear the garden, he does not clear the creepers, and thus, it happens so that people are always nagging him, scolding him of not working hard. Even certain words are being told to Dasa which makes him feel that he is good for nothing fellow. What he tries to do is he tries to make his own position at the house. He wants that everyone should recognize that Dasa is the person actually who has done the work. He makes his own strategy. He tries to gather people, and then he shows that he has done something great thing by catching that snake. And yes, of course, people were very exhausted after such a hard work when they had taken out, cut all those shrubs and all. And now what they are thinking is, at last, the snake is inside the pot and we all are safe now. They stood at a safe distance because they did not want to go near the pot, again disturb that poor snake or poor them, so that they have to again search for the snake. Don't call me an idler there hereafter. Now is the sentence, Dasa is now making his own mind. Do not call me an idler. I am not a lazy person. I am not an idler hereafter. Correct. He said, Mother complimented him on his sharpness and wished she had placed some milk in the pot as a sort of religious duty. Now, your mother is very poor chap. She is always emotional, mothers, and believing on the superstitious beliefs, she started feeling that this snake should be offered something. It is a blessing towards the house, the family members, and it is the symbol of Lord Subramaniam. And if some god or a deity or a big personality comes to your house, what you do is you offer some good things to them. And thus mother was feeling sad that she had not kept any milk, or she had not given anything to the snake to have. Correct. So she complimented